So this week, I want to celebrate women. Hello, everyone. This is Andrea with Revitalizing Your Health. And this week, I want to focus on women. Now, we just had Mother's Day pass, and there are those that may not be a mother. But you know, whether you've actually had children yourself, it seems that all women are a part of some child's life and make a difference. So I want to celebrate that. And I want to start by telling you a story. This last weekend at church, I told this story to the children and to the audience as well, but it was focused on the children. And I just want to share this story with you. It was a story that I read to my children while they were growing up, and it just has an amazing lesson. And you know, as women, when we're younger, we might say our hands are beautiful, or we might look at someone else's hands and think that they're beautiful hands. And then as the years pass by, we start noticing changes. We start to get more wrinkled, and then more wrinkled, and they don't seem as beautiful. This story, which happened years ago, was about a mother with a baby, and she laid her baby down for a nap, and then she went next door to the neighbors to visit. She intended to only spend a few minutes, but they got involved with conversation, and it took her longer than she intended. And then she noticed that there were sirens, and she was a little concerned, but her neighbor said, "It's not a big deal. There's been a lot of grass fires lately, and I'm sure it's just that. I wouldn't worry about it." But then she noticed it was getting closer, and she noticed that there were people running in the street, and it looked as if they were going toward her house. And she ran out the door, and sure enough, her house was on fire. And she goes running toward her house with the sole thought in mind, I need to get my baby. She wasn't thinking about what harm could come to her, but she wanted to get her baby. And she was immediately grabbed by a fireman and said, "No, you can't go in there." But you know, when you are full of fear and adrenaline, you are stronger than you ever could imagine. And she pulled away from that fireman and ran into the house. She knew exactly where her baby was. And she ran to her baby, scooped her up, and headed for the door. But she didn't make it to the door. She ended up falling on the floor. But a fireman came in and rescued her and the baby and brought them out. Now, the baby had no harm at all. But the mother was badly burned, so badly burned that she was in the hospital for a while. And then she finally got out of the hospital, and she was so grateful to be reunited with her baby. Well, the years went by, and her daughter was growing. And one day when her daughter was a little older, I don't remember, 6 or 7, she said to her mother one day, "Your hands are so ugly," which caused her mother to start crying. Well, then the girl felt so bad that she had said anything. But the mother led her daughter into the living room and sat her down and told her the story of how she got all the scars on her hands. Well, when she finished the story, her daughter said, "Mother, you have the most beautiful hands." It totally changed her perspective when she realized that those scars were caused because her mother loved her so much that she came into a fire and scooped her out to save her life. Well, this reminds me of somebody else that has scars in his hands, and that's Jesus. We are in the fire of sin, and sin will destroy us. But Jesus came and died on the cross, and he got these scars in his hands. that show the sacrifice he made of love for us so that we can be plucked out of that fire of sin. And I think that makes his hands the most beautiful. And when we get to heaven and we can see those scarred hands, we will say the same thing as that little girl. What beautiful hands you have, because we know what he did to pluck us out of the fire of sin. Now, it reminds me also of this last weekend when we had northern lights. We went up our mountain and we sat out and watched and waited until the northern lights came out. They started out not really that big of a deal, and you couldn't really see with the naked eye any colors. Just mostly looked white, but when you took a picture, you could see there was a little bit of color there. But just before we decided to give up and go home, they came out in the fullness of beauty. And when it fully surrounded us, it was like this blanket that came around us, and it was all the way around us, and there was like this hole up in the top, and then it just came down. And I felt this feeling of being wrapped in God's love. And it made me think about what he has done for us, and that even though we're still on this ugly earth, that he provides us with beauty and shows us that he's still there with us. He has wrapped his love about us. He's got this blanket of protection over us. Does that mean that we'll never have sorrow or pain or disappointment? No. But he's there to go through it with us, and he is there to give us comfort and strength and endurance. I just felt his presence in a mighty way that night as those northern lights engulfed us, and it was amazing. Now, I hope that all of you as women are feeling blessed, that you have those in your life that have let you know how much of a blessing you are to them. And I'm telling you that you are a blessing. God has created you to have that love for others like he has for you. And I'm grateful that he provides that love to us. And I pray you had a wonderful Mother's Day, and that you will continue to bless those around you each and every day, and know that God is there walking beside you. And until next time, keep healthy and God bless. If in any way you have been blessed by this video, please share, like, and subscribe to help me grow. And in advance, thank you.